Rural Heritage on RFD TV is brought to you by Rural Heritage Magazine, a bi-monthly magazine featuring articles about farming and logging with draft animal power, small-scale diversified family farming and homesteading, and other aspects of our rich rural heritage. Rural Heritage Magazine, borrowing from yesterday to do the work of today. For subscription information, please call 319-362-3027 or order online at www.ruralheritage.com. If you enjoy watching Teamsters show their driving skills in various farm team classes where they navigate obstacle courses, log skidding, feed team races, and other precision driving classes, you'll want to get yourself to Deer Lodge, Montana later this month for the Big Sky Draft Horse Expo. And if you like seeing the big horses compete in performance hitch classes from cart, team, unicorn, 4, and all the way up to the 6-horse hitch classic series, you'll want to be at the Big Sky Draft Horse Expo June 27 through 29 in Deer Lodge, Montana. The Big Sky Draft Horse Expo is celebrating its 30th anniversary this year, and we met with some of the board members, exhibitors, and others to talk about what makes Big Sky so unique and appealing for spectators, and what else historic Deer Lodge has to offer visitors. The first thing that I want to know is how the show started.
Well, as I understand it, in 1995, there was a group of locals here from the Deer Lodge Valley that came together and said we should have a draft horse show because there was a lot of interest in draft horses here in this valley. And in addition to individuals, the Powell County Museum and Arts Foundation was a part of that group that initially brought the show together. And I won't list their names because I would miss some, but
Right.
nonetheless, there was a good committee, a good group of people. And it started slow, it started small, as all shows do. And struggled over the years and had growing pains, and I think the committee grew and eventually has gotten to be a nice big show, I think. So it's taken 30 years.
And is that the fairgrounds that it's at?
Yep,
Is that a
across the
county
street.
fairgrounds?
Yes, Powell
Okay.
County Fairgrounds,
Deer Lodge the county seat of
Yes,
the county? Okay.
yes.
I didn't know that, okay.
but not of Deer Lodge County, it's Powell County,
Okay. Is there a Deer Lodge County?
next door.
Okay,
And the county seat of that is Anaconda.
okay, all right. There's probably a story there.
Not germane to us.
Exactly right, exactly right. Yeah, so, what is the main mission of the show?
The main mission of our show here that the committee has kind of based our core values on is education to the public. We want to be able to have the public understand how everything was established, why it was established, and just really kind of get out there what it used to be like. Hence, that's why it's been nice to join with Grant Coors and with the museum here in town. It just brings everything together, and people are able to experience that of what it used to be back in the early 1900s, 1800s. So,
Why is that important?
education. It really comes down to making sure people understand what they had to go through and what there was involved in the whole thing. So I think that's what makes our show pretty unique, is because we have so much with the open class, or what we call open class farm team type, and also the hitch side, because we're able to kind of join both worlds, but it works good to educate the public.
And the hitch side would be the performance horses,
Mm-hmm.
and the open class would be more of the work horses.
Yep.
And then you come over here to do some work as well, is that right?
Yeah, throughout the year.
There's a
during
demonstration,
the
there's a,
show.
yeah, there's
Oh,
a
during the show.
demonstration
Yeah.
over here that's held, and as of recently, it's been held on the Friday morning before the show. And it's a demonstration of various equipment that horses were used for example, building roads. So they had a dump wagon and then they had a grader. And so they demonstrate how that worked. they have a water wagon. So they had all three now. They can do the water, and then they do the dump wagon, and then they do the grader, and then they do the water, you know, all that, building a roadbed. Also, they do, excuse me, also they
year-
do haying, and they use a beaver slide, or they use an overshot stacker, and they've demonstrated those too.
I think the neat thing about this year is that they're bringing in the draft horse folks from up there by Hamilton, the Bitterroot Club, and they're going to set up a PTO-driven mechanism and show how that all works. And I think that'll go really good here with them to kind of show, because everybody had to use those at one time or
So
another to
ground
run
drive
thrashing.
PTO, or, okay, it's not a mounted engine,
Mm-mm.
okay,
Nope, be ground driven.
yeah, okay.
They actually use that. What's kind of unique, or what I was told, was they use that a lot for the logging, as well as they could use it for, you know, thrashing and stuff like that.
I don't understand, what would it, this is basically a power cart, a ground drive power cart, right, with a
No,
PTO
it's
attachment?
stationary. It's actually
Oh.
stationary, so they could set it
Okay.
up for being able to saw
So it
logs
would run a
and stuff like
sawmill,
that. Yeah,
okay, I gotcha,
Yeah.
okay, so it would be a treadmill? Or a sweep?
I think a sweep.
might be a sweep.
I
Yep.
think a
Okay,
sweep.
Yep.
Okay,
Uh-huh.
now I'm,
But I'm
now-
not sure, I think a sweep.
okay,
Yep.
now I'm following you. I was thinking of a ground drive forecart that
Oh,
has
okay.
a PTO gearing on it, so it can run the PTO.
I don't
Right.
think so, I
No.
think it's a sweep.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
think
okay.
it's a sweep.
Yep.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And so
And of that, 7 or 8 of them are hitch, the rest are open class.
okay,
Mm-hmm.
are the hitch classes more towards the evening?
No,
Okay,
they're interspersed.
all right. During the day, when does the show start?
On Friday this year, we're starting earlier than we have in the past. It'll start at noon,
Okay,
and we hope to have it over by about 6 o'clock
okay,
because we have a barbecue that's open to the public, and we really do it for the exhibitors. They can come over and they don't have to worry about cooking
Right.
and those kinds of things. Yeah, and then on Saturday it starts at 9, and it will go all day. We'll take a little break in the middle, and it will go until about 6 o'clock at night. And then Sunday we'll start at 10, and the show should be over probably about 1:30 or 2. And the finale is usually our fancy hitch. So we kind of promote that and hope people will stick around for that
and
at
so
the
last
end.
year it was the Nagel 10-horse hitch?
It was. Yeah, that was a great time.
Yeah,
Great fun
yeah.
watching them. Watching them maneuver to get over to the arena was
Right.
kind of exciting.
Right,
But yeah,
yeah,
it was fun.
okay.
Yeah.
And what do you think it'll be this year?
I'm not sure. Do we have a definite fancy hitch this year?
Yeah, I think Bob Tomasky was talking about doing, what do they call it, 6 corn, where he's gonna have 4, 2, and 1, if I remember
Okay,
right.
yeah,
Yeah.
sure, sure,
Yeah.
So that's what he was
And
talking about.
those are with mules.
okay,
So that'll be a fun one, exciting. We
yeah.
haven't had a fancy hitch with mules before. That'll be fun. Yes, we do have what we call a master teamster competition,
Okay,
and that's for our farm teams. There are 4 events that they must compete in.
okay,
We have log skidding, there's an obstacle course.
Canadian maze.
The Canadian maze, and then we have a new one that's called Driving with Precision, and that is kind of a timed event. You have to put your horses into, in this case, it's a trot, and they can't break out of that. And they go through kind of an obstacle course with that. At the end of the 3 days, we will have a master teamster. We add up all the scores from those 4 events, and there's some good competition with that.
sure.
It's
sure.
fun, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Do they know where they stand as they go through those classes? They
Yes.
probably have a feel anyway.
Yes,
They do, 'cause
they
they're
do.
placed.
Yeah.
Placings
Yes.
are handed out right at the end of the class.
Yep, they are,
Okay.
yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about Deer Lodge. This is a You're not prepared for that, it
No,
sounds
it's
like. So people coming, people choosing to come.
Sit on that side, you can't see.
People,
Excuse me.
people
Do you
who
want
choose
this?
to come, there's other things to do in addition to the show. They could make a week of it. And if there's somebody that's not interested in the show, like a husband or a wife, they could go do other things.
Absolutely.
It's a very, I wouldn't want to say touristy, but it's a very interesting place, a historical place, right?
The thing that's interesting about here is, and that's why I think it's pretty unique of why we joined up with the old Pin, is there's over like 160 antique cars in there. It goes over the history, as well as the old Pen part that you're able to go through the history part with understanding how that all went. Like one of our favorites is there's a turkey Pete in there and talk about selling the prison turkey at one time. And I think the other thing, not just about Deer Lodge has been very beneficial to us as far as helping us out and support. But I think the surrounding area, you start looking at Phillipsburg, Montana over here, an old mining town. It's very neat, you know, that's very family oriented. Kids can go over there and do some mining, as well as going over here to Anaconda. There's a lot of history over in Anaconda with the old smelter. And so there's just, this whole area is really unique in that standpoint. You know, if somebody wants to come, they literally 1 week is probably going to be pretty short for them. So.
Right, okay, all right.
And the Grant Coors Ranch itself is one of the first ranches in the state. Was put together by Conrad Coors and,
Bellenberg, wasn't it?
well, we should know the history of this. We'll ask Mackenzie.
Yeah.
We'll ask Mackenzie. But, and we should ask her too, but the thing about Grant Coors is that they raised Hereford cattle and they raised Belgian horses. And they, this valley was very rich in terms of agriculture. And the Mount Hagen Ranch was just up the road here, up the river, and they raised sheep. And it's a very rich agriculturally based area. But having said that, there was a lot of Indian population that came through the area as well.
Okay,
It's got a rich history.
right,
Yeah, it really does.
I think
You
I don't need a
leave
mic.
it.
No,
You
I
guys are
don't-
sitting close to each other. You
Okay.
I
can
don't
talk.
need a mic. I was just gonna say, if there are folks that are not interested in the show, don't wanna sit and watch the horses, can imagine. But, there's a world-class golf course in
Okay.
Anaconda. They can
Yeah,
go
there
play
is.
golf, it's amazing. And there's a wonderful hot springs just up the road at Fairmont. There's lots of things to do, even if you don't.
Or
want
if you
to
do,
watch.
you make the show your destination, but you can do a lot of other
Yes.
things during the
Lots of
Yeah.
week or
fishing.
2 weeks.
Yep.
Yeah,
Fishing,
Oh,
yeah.
lots of fishing.
There's all kinds of things to do if you are not just interested
Right.
in the horse events.
I mean, sometimes one spouse is and one spouse
It's
needs to be
not.
talked into it. To say you can
Speaking
go
out
play
of
golf
practice.
is one of those ways.
And it's a world-class golf
Okay.
course.
All right. Do you play?
I do not.
Okay.
That's why I don't know.
No,
But my son plays and he says it's awesome.
So talk about the public interaction outside of the showroom.
We definitely encourage our spectators and visitors to go to the barns, see the horses, talk to the owners, see how the families and the crews work together to get everything ready to go. I think it's amazing. What is his name? Waring, Dad Waring.
Arlen.
Arlen Waring, I think he's in his 90s. He still gets up on those horses and braids them before they go into the show. That is amazing. He's just a tiny little guy. And to watch him get up there, sit on top of those horses and braid.
Oh, he's not on a braiding stool. He's
No,
on the
he
back.
sits on them.
That's a job.
It is, and he he is just amazing when he does it.
Wow.
So it's really fun, and I love that the public gets to go and see that. I think one thing we're missing, and I'm going to try to make it happen this year, we need to bring in a miniature horse so that we can have a mini horse and a really big horse next to one another. I think that would be super fun for the public to see. But all of our exhibitors and their crews and families are so welcoming to the spectators. I love that about the people that are at our show.
I think what's fun is the friends that you've created over time that come through the barns here. I mean, I know friends that we've got out of Canada to, southern part of the United States that just on their way through seen it and wanted to stop. Now all of a sudden it's like this is their annual thing to stop in here and come to the show because they love it so much. And I think that's the bonds that are pretty neat to be able to create with people, and answer their questions, and maybe a family that's always wanted to get up close to one, but they brought their grandkids or whatever, and they want to be able to pet them. And it's always neat to be able to help them, be able to do that and provide a horse there for them to pet. And it's pretty neat when you get to make somebody smile that way.
Right. I mean, you probably are meeting the kids of spectators that you met when they were kids.
Mm-hmm.
It just continues on.
Yep.
And how many times are you asked how much water does a horse drink in a day? Or how much hay does a horse eat?
You get asked that question a lot. I think the funny one is for us with the show horses, everybody's like, why do they have a square-toed shoe? And
Yeah.
we always usually like to make something up like, oh, that's because Budweiser does it, so that's why we do it. People are always like, oh, that makes sense. But no, it's pretty neat because, they always are like just mesmerized at like, how much do these guys eat a day? And you kind of go over your rations with them and stuff, and it's pretty neat to see their amazement, So.
In a world where in the 20s and 30s, America was rural. I mean, you wouldn't talk about rural and urban so much because everybody was rural. Small towns or country. Now it's the other way, completely. How important is it to serve as ambassadors? Talk about that a little bit. Why do you care what the public thinks?
I think it's taken a little bit for granted now in the age of technology that how our country was built. I mean, our roads were built by horses, our cities were built by horses, all this that probably a lot of the generation now has no concept of. And I think it's so important that we are still passing that legacy on. Even with our little bit, our show, and a team of 1 or 2 horses versus teams of 20 that travel down a city road at some point. So I think that part, as well as personally, I don't want to see the art of driving die. I think it's really an important part. I started out only as a rider, and after many, many years was lucky enough to get into driving, and to see how important and what a fun thing that is, and a whole new different way of communicating with your horse and enjoying your horse or mule. So I hope those parts of it, seeing how these competitors are willing to spend the time and energy to get to the show, how much money really it takes to travel down the road with a semi or 3 or 4 rigs to bring your wagons and your horses to a show, how important that still is to us, and what an enjoyment that can be for everybody who participates, and hopefully getting younger folks involved. I mean, that's probably the reason why we have our youth classes, right, is that we really want to stress that this is really something that you can do, enjoy, and really have fun with for the rest of your life.
It's a fun show, and it's like these guys, I don't see them but once a year kind of thing, and it's everybody's always happy happy to be showing their animals, and lots going on, and seeing and bringing in the new, like right now we've got a couple of 4-H kids that we've gotten driving with us, and so I have another new one this year that's going to drive, and she's really excited. So Yeah, I really enjoy that, just getting the kids interested. And it's difficult. I mean, it's really difficult for kids to get into it because it's pretty involved, and it's expensive, and you got to have all this. So if if I can mentor somebody and somebody can get in and drive Judy, that's great.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, it is a commitment.
Yeah, but we've been fortunate because we kind of tapped into the 4-H, and they've been really good about helping us. We do a clinic in the spring and bring the 4-H kids in, and they kind of young. And this gal, she's been going along for a while now. She's 12, but she's a big girl, tall. Anyway, so this year she's going to be able to show, and so yeah.
We also spent some time at Grant Corps Ranch, the Old Montana Prison Museum, and the Auto Museum in Deer Lodge, just a few of the interesting and historic places in the area which make Deer Lodge and some of the surrounding towns a great vacation destination. In future episodes, we'll spend time at each of these and learn what makes them so special. This program is available for purchase. To order your copy, please call 319-362-3027 or visit www.ruralheritage.com. Rural Heritage is a bi-monthly magazine dedicated to draft animal farming and logging, as well as other aspects of our rich rural heritage. It is published by Mishka Press, which also offers a complete line of Back to the Land books, DVDs, and calendars. Call or write for a catalog or subscription information, or visit our website at www.ruralheritage.com.